I really liked how much the Mitchells vs. the Machines proved that Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe can be successful as their own directors and writers outside of Gravity Falls.
Cool.
And Jeff Rowe also wrote and directed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem with Tyler Spears, which they had, which also had 4 other writers, including Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Toy Story 2, I think what really helped give Toy Story 2 a lot of variety with the A story focused on Jesse and Woody and the B story focused on Buzz and Rex. It was, the fact that it had 3 directors and 7 writers.
Wow.
And given that Andrew Stanton was a story writer and a screenplay writer, it's very likely that he worked in the B story with Buzz and Rex learning how to defeat Zurg.
Probably, yeah, makes sense.
And Buzz, when Rex talks about the beginning, Buzz trying to contact Rex, they telling him, "You're a better Buzz than I am."
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, Buzz and Andrew Stanton. Also, I was talking about that because again, Andrew Stanton also did Zurg's voice in Toy Story 2, and so I think he may have done also contributions of the B story with Buzz and Rex fighting Zurg.
Mm-hmm. So, what did you want to say about Mitchells versus Machines?
Oh yes, that. Well, I thought. Well, given how this is another animated Sony film with menacingly black robots and red with scary red lights. I think when Sony greenlit the Mitchells vs. the Machines, it was a good way to apologize for Sony to apologize for making the emoji movie and prove that they can make better films after Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, well, that was better than the Emoji Movie.
And because the Mitchells vs. the Machines is a much better story about technology and human connections. You know how a lot of people tell you, to not judge a book by its cover? Well, if a trailer is the cover, then The Mitchells vs. the Machines is a whole book, which proves to have much more to the story than what the cover showed to us.
Good.
It's not because the Mitchell family learning to bond as people while defeating the robot apocalypse from PAL is not something that gets easily resolved in 1 hour. It actually takes 100 minutes to solve both the simultaneous conflicts that they need to face, both the personal conflict and the global conflict with the robots taking over the world. Both the personal conflict with Katie moving off to film college and the global conflict with the robots taking over the planet. And yeah.
2 stories, a global, kind of a worldwide one and a personal family one.
That's right. And and unlike Toy Story 2, it's not the kind of 2 storylines that split up different main characters to carry different storylines. But yes, but from what I remember, the Mitchells vs. the Machines actually had 3 climactic fight scenes between the Mitchell family and the PAL robots on average of every 30 minutes.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate?
Oh, yes. Well, there was the first scene where they were hiding at the Dino gift shop, and then the second scene with the mall where Katie tries to download or upload the kill code for the PAL robots. And then there's the third climax where they go to that big Cybertronic harp in the sky where all of the people are being kept in that hexagon cells.
Oh, yeah. Oh, scary. And do you feel like all the different members of the family all played a part? They were all needed with their various skills they had?
Yes, they did.
So it had more meaning as a family movie than just dealing with the Katie subplot. They also all had a role in defeating, and saving the world, basically.
That is correct. I really enjoyed how smooth and dynamic and vibrant and colorful the animation is. Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe really knew how to give their art and animation a lot of personality, including the colorful animated drawings that Katie puts up throughout the film to express her strong emotions about things.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, the newer management of Sony definitely made the right move on on they definitely took the right risk on allowing Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe to direct and write their own animated film after Gravity Falls.
So I started coming up with ideas that could be animated movies, and I got really excited about one of them, which was combining the thing I love the most, which is my crazy family, and the thing I loved the most when I was a kid, which is killer robots.
We knew each other really well from school, and we were really good friends. And I think instead of having some random person assigned by the studio, he was like, can I have Jeff co-write it with me?
I really admire Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe as new film directors and film writers, and they definitely deserve more recognition for their efforts than the producers who made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Into the Spider-Verse, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, because they have more name recognition at Sony than the two writers of Gravity Falls, as I just mentioned, Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe, who are responsible for the creation of The Mitchells vs. the Machines.
Wow, is this real or?
Christabel came on like 2.5 or 3 years in.
We watched the movie in this very earliest form.
And they're like, we like it. Would it be okay if we had produced it? And I was like, yeah, Chris and Phil. Like, yes, it would be okay. Because I love their stuff.
You guys are my people.
In The Mitchells vs. the Machines, I really enjoyed and admired the main character energy of Abigail Jacobson, and it showed to me that Abigail Jacobson and Michael Rianda, who play Katie Mitchell and Aaron Mitchell, are both very talented actors and filmmakers, not exactly, but very much like the characters whom they play in The Mitchells vs. the Machines.
Cool.
Even though when they made this film, they were twice the age of, they were both twice the age of Katie Mitchell.
Yeah. But they remember being that age.
Of course they do.
And what else do you want to say?
Well, I will definitely watch any new movies that, since I like watching Jeff Rowe's and Kyler Spears' film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and Kyler Spears also used to write for or direct for Amphibia, I would definitely like to watch any new great, unique-looking animated films in the future that are directed, written, and voice acted by Abby Jacobson and Michael Rianda, because I definitely see potential for a bright future in Katie Mitchell and Aaron Mitchell as filmmaking students.
Yeah, me too.
We had a whiteboard that was like the things we want to do in the movie, and it was like, love every character, not boring, not confusing or whatever, and one of the check marks was, make the movie look unlike anything that's ever been done before. And I was like, I just showed the art team, I'm like, well, what are we gonna do, guys?
Now all that's left for Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe to do is, 1 decade after The Mitchells vs. the Machines, ruin it with a sequel in the future titled The Mitchells vs. the Monsters, where we get to see how Katie Mitchell and Aaron Mitchell are doing as new filmmakers breaking into the Hollywood filmmaking business 1 decade after The Mitchells vs. the Machines took place.
Well, hopefully they will not ruin their legacy with a bad sequel.
Well, yeah, I'm very sure that Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe are far more competent than that, but, Hoodwink 2 is a very cautionary tale on how a film sequel can somehow soil the legacy of how great the original film was while trying to expand on the lore of their world.
Yeah, especially if there's like other people involved, it gets taken out of your hands, it gets run by committee and ends up getting ruined. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen
I know.
where it's different than what was intended and gets ruined somehow.
That's right.
Because so many people are involved.
That's right. Do you think Abigail Jacobson should also write the sequel with Michael and Kyler if they're making the second Mitchell's film together?
If they're all interested, yes.
Okay, that's good. So, Mom and subscribers, would you watch a second The Mitchells film about how Katie Mitchell and Aaron Mitchell grew up to be almost successful filmmakers 1 decade after The Mitchells vs. the Machines in the year 20, which would be the year 2030, because the first film takes place in 2020.
Yeah, if it's a good script, if it's good quality.
I agree. I want The Mitchells vs. the Monsters, or whatever they decide to call it, to be more like Toy Story 2 and more like Toy Story 2, and I want The Mitchells versus the Monsters to be more like Toy Story 2 and less like Hoodwinks 2.
Right. Toy Story 2 was a great sequel. Hoodwink 2 not. So yeah, I'd agree with that.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
Well, I'm your mom.
Well,
But that's not why I agree with you.
well, Linda, I really think you're a great mom and a cool mom, just like Linda Mitchell.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Adam.
And sometimes I wish I had a fun outdoorsy dad like Rick Mitchell.
Maybe I'll meet someone. But, well, your original dad, he's pretty outdoorsy.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I really like getting to see the whole Mitchell family members and their dog Monchi do very cool action things. I think the Mitchells versus the Machines is like I think the Mitchells versus the Machines is sort of like I think Mitchells versus the Mitchells versus the Machines is in a way Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines for kids.
Ah, that's a good way to look at it, yeah. Yeah. And we can go camping again if you want.